My school improvement project is titled Improving School Discipline Through 21st Century Programs at Broad Creek Middle School, and my name is Ashley Schultz. This is my first year at Broad Creek Middle School as a principal intern. The school is for grades 6 through 8, and it also contains one Extend 1 classroom. The school is high performing, as all of the schools in Carteret County are. There are two elementary schools, White Oak and Bogue Sound, that feed into Broad Creek Middle School. The students that go to Broad Creek Middle School then feed into Croatan High School. Broad Creek opened in 1988 on Highway 24 in Newport, North Carolina. There have been 6 principals since its opening, but the current principal, Sarah Weinhold, has been at the school for 7 years. When I began gathering data for my school improvement project, I noticed a couple of patterns. When looking at the school improvement goals gathered from IndiStar, there was a focus on increased academic achievement. One goal focused specifically on the students with disabilities population. On the teacher working conditions survey, managing student conduct had lower scores than other areas. So although the teachers had ranked these in the 80th percentile range, other areas were scored at the 90th percentile range. I also gathered data from the NC School Report Card. This data showed that although the school had very high proficiencies overall, the proficiencies for students with disabilities were significantly lower. In 2018-2019, the math accuracy for these students was 22%, the reading was 24%, and the science was 53%. I also noticed when looking at the suspension and expulsion rate that Broad Creek Middle School had much higher rates of short-term suspensions and in-school suspensions in comparison to the county level and the state level. In gathering stakeholder language examples, I could see that there was a lot of burnout when it came to discipline at Broad Creek Middle School. A student said, "I'm just confused. I don't like loud noises, and some teachers let me have my earbuds in, but others don't, and then I get sent to ISS." When calling a parent, I heard, "Are you kidding? I do not have time to come pick up my son's phone because he was getting a phone call. I'm a single parent right now. This is unbelievable." Even staff were saying things like, "NG in the bullpen again, and really, her coming in here is not helping the others." As the project took off, I noticed an improvement in the language and heard things like, "He is not in trouble, he just couldn't help himself from being a distraction to others and needed a safe space." I didn't realize we could see these graphs of who has the most referrals. This data will be helpful going forward. The next step in the process was to take a look at what researchers were saying about discipline and leadership in schools. Some of my favorite examples are: a main component of this discipline plan is that it's applied universally. No matter where the students go, they encounter the same plan, and the key is school-wide consistency. Another favorite is you have to do what you say you will do. Your actions had better be consistent with your words. After completing my research, I was ready and excited to enact my plan. The first step was to discuss a plan with the administration team. The assistant principal had previous experience using Educator's Handbook, which helped my case. The principal, Mrs. Weinhold, liked the idea when it was presented. The second step was for me to gain super administrator access to Educator's Handbook by reaching out to a stakeholder at county office. The next step in the process was to begin back entering data into Educator's Handbook from the spreadsheet system the school was using. I felt this step was important because we needed an accurate picture of the discipline happening at Broad Creek Middle School since the start of the school year. The data manager, Mrs. Harris, assisted me in doing this. This step also allowed us to increase compliance with the 5-day incident reporting requirement from the state because of the Right Back extension through Educator's Handbook. After briefly training my principal, Mrs. Weinhold, in the program, the next step was to train the leadership team so they could pilot the program for the school. I did this through professional development training during the leadership team meeting. I created a Google Slides presentation and a short video embedded in the slides showing the steps. I also provided snacks at the meeting because who doesn't like snacks when they have to sit through professional development? I created a quick tip sheet for the teachers to help them get started, and we spent a long time discussing what warrants an office referral versus a minor incident. Although Broad Creek is still in the beginning phases of the rollout of Educator's Handbook, I am already excited by the results that I have been seeing. There has been a decrease in the cost per incident after using Educator's Handbook because administrators are able to see how much instruction students are really losing, especially those with disabilities, and being more cautious with the consequences assigned. Also, I am happy to report that several members of the leadership team have already used Educator's Handbook to report offenses. Several of them are reporting things as minor incidents that they previously would have sent as an office referral. This data is great for the teachers to have, and the best part is students are in the classroom learning, which is where we want them to be. I look forward to seeing the impact that my project will have throughout the rest of the school year and the impact it will have on student achievement for end of grade tests.